Hello, my fifth graders. I'm here doing a grammar video for you today. We're going to go over your work that you did before, and then I'm going to kind of talk to you about your next page. So I want you to get your grammar workbooks out. The first thing we're going to do is go over pages 87 and 88, and then we will look at page 89 together, okay? So, first, page 87. Now, first of all, I'm just going to say that I have noticed that there are some of you that are not following complete directions and doing everything that is asked of you on the page. You need to go back and do these things. You need to do these properly. When I do a video and I take the time to go over specifically the examples and how to do them, I expect you to follow along and do them correctly. And then I expect you to continue to do them correctly when you're working on your own. If this is super hard for you and you really just can't do it, then you need to reach out to me and ask me for some help. And I will try to help you. You're going to have to try and be able to tell me what it is that you're struggling with. Are you struggling with finding the subject of the sentence? Are you struggling because you don't remember your prepositions? Are you struggling because you can't find the verb of a sentence? You don't know how to find the subject and the verb, then you're not going to be able to do any of these problems correctly. So reach out to me, because if you don't reach out to me and say, hey, Mrs. Masson, I'm really having a problem with subjects and verbs, or I'm really having a problem with prepositions or something like that, then it kind of looks like you're just being lazy and you're not even really trying to do the work properly. So if I look at your paper and I see that you haven't followed directions and you haven't done it properly, and I don't have an email from you saying this is really hard for me, I need help, then I'm going to assume that you were just sort of being lazy and weren't really trying, and I'm not going to give you full credit. So if you're really struggling, I mean, if you are, and it's okay if you are, then let me know and we'll go back and I'll give you some different assignments so that you can get caught up or at least learn whatever it is that you're confused on. But you're going to have to be able to tell me what it is that you're confused on, what it is that you're really struggling. I can't find the subjects. I can't find the verbs. I can't tell if a verb is a linking verb or an adverb. I can't find the prepositions. I don't remember my prepositions. Whatever the problem is, please let me know so I can work with you, okay? But if you're just going to keep going on and just not following directions, and I look at your paper and you've only done half or part of what you've been asked to do, then I'm just going to assume that you just are being lazy and disrespectful, and then I'm not going to give you all the points. Okay, so let me know if you're having problems. I want to help you. I don't want anybody to be lost or left behind. Okay, now let's look at page 87. I think I went over this already, so I'm just going to do this one very quickly, but we're doing sentence patterns. And so you're trying to determine if a verb is a linking verb or an action verb, and how do you tell the difference between a linking verb and an action verb? It's because an action verb shows action. It's something that the subject does or can do or will do. A linking verb doesn't show any action. It connects the subject to other words in the sentence, a predicate adjective or a predicate noun. How can you tell if it's a predicate adjective or a predicate noun? Well, if the part of speech is an adjective, it's a describing word, it's a predicate adjective. If the part of speech is a noun or a pronoun, it's a predicate noun. How do you tell if an action verb has a direct object? A direct object answers the question whom or what after the verb. So you actually have to, in your mind or out loud, say the verb, ask the question whom or what, and see if you can find the answer. Same thing with the indirect object. Then the indirect object answers the question to whom or for whom. If you can say that question and find the answer, then that's the indirect object. Unless, of course, there's actually the word to in the sentence, and it says to so-and-so or to such and such, then it becomes a prepositional phrase, and it's not an indirect object. Okay, so let's look at your examples. Number one, on page 87, the subject is aunt, the verb is cheers. For her team is a prepositional phrase. So your sentence pattern written on the line should be SV. Number two, fans is the subject, are is a linking verb, Linking and enthusiastic is a predicate adjective, and then your prepositional phrase is about the game. So now what you're doing is you're labeling, you're actually physically writing above each word. Above fans, there should be an S. Above R, you should have written LV. Above enthusiastic, you should have written PA. And then about this game should be in parentheses. Number 3, people is the subject, so you should have an S above people. Wave is the verb, there should be a V above wave. Signs is the direct object, above signs you write DO, and then over their heads is a prepositional phrase in parentheses. I'm going quickly over these because I'm pretty sure I went over these in a little bit more detail in the previous video. Number 4, others is the subject, that gets an S above it. Dress is the verb, it gets a V above it. Then in their team's colors is a prepositional phrase. It gets in parentheses. And so your sentence pattern on a line is SV. Then number 5, fans is the subject. It gets an S above it. R is the linking verb. It gets LV. Supporters is predicate noun. It gets a PN. And then for their team is a prepositional phrase. It goes in parentheses. So the sentence pattern on the line is SLVPN. Now let's look at the page that you did on your own. Number 1, a sentence with an action verb may have a direct object. Action verbs don't have predicate nouns and predicate adjectives. They just have direct objects and indirect objects. Not always, but often. Number 2, a sentence with a linking verb and a word after the verb that describes the subject probably has a predicate adjective. The clue there is the describing. It describes. Number 3, a sentence with a linking verb and a word after the verb that renames the subject probably has a predicate noun. So that's what the renaming is, okay? So let's look at number 4. Now you're labeling again. So you're writing S, LV, or V, or PA, or O, or DO, over the words. So number 4, Bobby Orr's good sportsmanship is legendary. This one's sort of tricky because you want Bobby Orr to be the subject, but it's not. That's actually an adjective describing something. So sportsmanship is your subject. That gets an S above it. Is the verb. It's a linking verb. It doesn't show action, so it gets an LV above it. And then legendary is an adjective. It's the predicate adjective. So in the blank, you should write SLVPA. Then number 5, he was a defenseman for the Boston Bruins. The subject is he. That gets an S above it. Was is a linking verb. Defenseman is your predicate noun. That gets a PN above it because he is a defenseman. Those are being linked together. And then for the Boston Bruins should be in parentheses.